But that's what happened. This is inflation. This is TikTok. This is TikTok. This is inflation.
Elon Musk is obviously the most powerful person in the federal government. He's tentacles are all over the Republican Party.
Ever notice how Trump and Musk both throw tantrums when someone calls them out? James Carville just dropped a truth bomb on live TV comparing these two billionaire babies to a crawfish boil, constantly creating chaos to distract us from what they're really up to. Trump immediately flipped out on Truth Social, while Musk started blocking journalists faster than you can say, free speech warrior. Funny how two supposed tough guys get so triggered by a simple comparison, right? Stick around to see exactly what Carville said that got their designer underwear in such a twist. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great. Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Remember when your crazy uncle tried to explain what's happening at a crawfish boil? Well, James Carville just used that exact analogy to perfectly describe what Trump and Musk are doing to America. According to Carville, a crawfish boil is loud, messy, and impossible to focus on any one thing. Kinda like trying to follow Trump's Twitter feed or Musk's latest genius business move. What Carville brilliantly pointed out is that both these guys aren't just random chaos machines, they're strategic chaos machines. It's like they took a masterclass in distraction techniques.
To get elected. They don't want that. They don't want me taking cash out to use it for the campaign.
By the way, J.D. Vance is at the Vatican now. I don't know if he's meeting with the Pope, but he's a convert. He's Opus Dei, I think.
Trump's presidency wasn't just 4 years of weird tweets and scandals. It was 4 years of look at my crazy left hand, while his right hand was busy packing courts and giving his rich buddies tax cuts. Classic magician move, except instead of pulling a rabbit out of a hat, he pulled democracy out of America. And Elon? That dude's running the same playbook at Twitter. Sorry, X. I roll. While everyone's busy freaking out about him banning journalists or picking fights with celebrities, he's quietly laying off thousands of employees without warning. The guy creates more smoke screens than a 1980s heavy metal concert. One day he's posting weird memes. The next, he's completely changing the platform's rules, and suddenly nobody remembers to ask why Tesla stock is taking a nosedive. Trump's presidency was basically one long episode of keeping up with the scandals. Remember the Stormy Daniels saga? By the time anyone could fully process that, he was already on to insulting war heroes or suggesting we should inject bleach to cure COVID. As Carville put it, it was a non-stop fire hose of scandals and inflammatory tweets at 3 a.m. Before you could say impeachment, there was already a new outrage to digest. The real kicker is that both these guys need this chaos. Their actual track records don't match their self-proclaimed genius status. Trump's businesses have more bankruptcies than I have socks, and Musk's Twitter takeover has been about as smooth as sandpaper underwear. But their followers don't see that because they're too busy defending whatever new controversy just dropped. The crawfish boil strategy is simple but effective.
They go after JD. You know why? He's for the worker. He's for people that get out and they want to work.
Pushback of what Mr. Musk is doing, because I know that Holy Mother of Church is not going to be swayed by.
Everyone's so busy with distractions that they can't focus on what really matters. And boy, did Carville's comments hit a nerve. Trump immediately fired back on Truth Social, calling Carville washed up and jealous. Nothing says I'm totally not bothered like a caps lock rant at midnight about how unbothered you are. That midnight Twitter tantrum proves exactly what Carville said. These guys can dish it out, but can't take it. Behind all the social media drama lies a disturbing pattern. Two men who've masterfully convinced millions to believe in versions of themselves that simply don't exist in reality. The gap between their carefully crafted personas and who they actually are might be the biggest con job in modern American history. Let's start with Trump's patriotic act. This guy wraps himself in the flag while his MAGA empire ships manufacturing jobs overseas. Nothing says America first quite like having your iconic red hats made in China, right? The same man who rails against foreign workers has consistently hired them at his properties when American labor was readily available. It's almost like his version of patriotism stops where his profit margins begin. Musk's free speech warrior routine isn't any better. The self-proclaimed champion of unfettered expression has a funny habit of silencing anyone who dares question his motives. Journalists who criticize him, banned.
Donald Trump appears to have insulted recipients of the Medal of Honor.
He can overnight his sperm, or I don't know, have surrogates or whatever the fuck he does, and do all the in vitro fertilization that he wants because...
Employees who point out flaws in his grand plans, fired. Apparently free speech only applies when you're saying nice things about Elon. So much for principles. What makes this con so effective is how both men position themselves as lone geniuses battling the establishment. In reality, neither man operates alone. Trump relies on an army of handlers, lawyers, and advisors just to function day to day. Meanwhile, Musk's innovations aren't born from solitary brilliance, but from the collective efforts of thousands of engineers and scientists whose contributions are conveniently erased from the narrative. That's why Carville didn't mince words when he called them both clowns on national television. They're selling you the same scam in different packaging, he said, pointing out how their actions consistently produce the opposite of their stated goals. They make grand entrances, promise the moon, and deliver nothing but disappointment wrapped in excuses. Perhaps their most effective trick is making criticism of them feel like a personal attack on their followers. When you challenge Trump or Musk, their supporters don't just disagree, they feel personally insulted. This cult-like defense mechanism transforms valid criticism into perceived persecution, creating a protective shield around these two billionaires that makes rational discussion nearly impossible.
I have a lot of money. I could do what I want to do.
Well, I have a lot of cash. I think he looked at my cash and he said, well, we'll take all of his cash. If people want to take advantage of our country, they have to pay to take advantage of our country. Your quality of life is going to collapse under these lunatics. By contrast, she said it already has.
By the way, J.D. Vance is at the Vatican now. I don't know if he's meeting with the Pope, but he's a convert. He's Opus Dei, I think.
The speed and fury with which both men responded to Carville's analysis speaks volumes. When supposedly tough, confident leaders melt down over criticism, it reveals the fragility behind their carefully constructed facades. Strong men don't need to tweet at midnight about how strong they are. Real patriots don't outsource their patriotic merchandise, and genuine free speech advocates don't silence dissent. Let's be real, what Carville did wasn't just throw shade at two billionaire babies. He handed us a psychological decoder ring for spotting their manipulation games. When you understand cognitive dissonance, you see why Trump and Musk's followers defend them no matter what. These guys aren't just annoying rich dudes with Twitter accounts, they're masters of the distraction game. Think about it, every time they post something wild or say something crazy, they're pulling the ultimate magic trick. Look at this hand, while the other one's in your pocket. Their entire strategy relies on overwhelming you with nonsense so you can't think clearly about what really matters.